Welcome to the podcast, the 10th episode. It's a blessing to have you on and like to have you introduce yourself and explain how you got into Airsoft.
All right, well, my name is Ben Smithers. Everyone calls me Smithers. It's not necessarily a what's the word? Call sign or anything. Everyone's called me Smithers since I was a kid, so it's kind of stuck. Um, and I got into airsoft. I was working at a distribution center up at a warehouse, and my buddy's son played, and he finally convinced his dad to go play. And of course, we just kind of fell in suit, and we all got together and got the guns and went out and been playing ever since. About It was like the summer of last year, probably June when I started, June or July.
Oh, so you've been in it for about roughly 8, 9 months,
Yeah, give or
roughly around
take.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So you're a newcomer-ish,
Oh yes.
sounds
Oh
like.
yes. That's why
Okay.
it blew my mind when E-Rock invited me to his podcast, and then now I'm on this podcast, and I don't do video the video stuff or anything. I take pictures when I can. I'm trying to get better at that, but it just kind of blew my mind to even be on one, and now I'm on two. It's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
E-Rock is pretty cool guy. I was able to speak with him and he's yeah, he's never played Airsoft, but he runs a Airsoft podcast. So
Yeah,
that I
which is
mean
wild.
that's wild, but that's still pretty cool because like he's a pretty chilled guy. I mean, you can talk to him about anything.
Yeah,
And
yeah, E-Rock's awesome. Have you
so
actually heard from him by any chance?
not recently, I've noticed that his activity hasn't been much within the last month.
Yeah, kind of worried
So
about him.
yeah, same here. And I know, and of course, I'll try to keep it discreet because I don't know how
Mm.
much information he wants to be released, but I know he's
Yeah,
going through some issues
yeah,
and I'm hoping it's not related to that.
same.
But I might reach out to him just to see how he's doing. But yeah, I that also caught my attention. I noticed the same thing.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get into it either for the same reason, but I figured I'd ask you because I know you guys were chatting a little bit or have been chatting a little bit after the podcast and stuff. So figured I'd ask.
Yeah, definitely. He's a cool guy and he's also a good motivator. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
if for those in the audience, if you can try to get onto his podcast, he's pretty cool.
yeah, definitely worth a listen for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, cool. So if you're in the airsoft for roughly 8 months, me, depends on how you look at me. I could be a newcomer or I could be not. It just depends on how
Right?
you take
Yeah,
this. But
newish.
new-ish, yeah. Because in my particular case, I always repeat this story in every episode, but I'll try to keep it really short. But basically, I started in 2003, backyard stuff with friends, and back then it was a different era, so we didn't have like full metal or everything was pretty much plastic. It was, of course, part of my language, but it was like crap.
Yeah,
So, and it was nowhere near as it is today. But anyway, back then in 2003, I was only in it for a few years. Got out of it between 2006, 2007, focused on my career. 15, 17 years later, beginning of 2024, uh, I was joking around with a colleague, and because we're both into weapons and guns and stuff like that. So I had an injury on the foot, which I recently had surgery on, and I didn't like how the recovery recommendations I was told to do. So my colleague indicated to me, well, hey, you like weapons. I mean, and why don't you just try airsoft? So therefore, you'll control the type of play style you do, the type of load you do on your foot, and therefore it's I wouldn't say forcing me, but it's basically encouraging me to basically
right.
exercise outside, right? And it's forcing me to use the foot. And
Yeah, well, makes sense.
so I told him, are you serious? And he said, yeah, give it a try. And of course, I was out there for a game or so, and I think it was on the second game or second day I went out is when I got hooked. And ever since
Yeah,
then, it's
when you met
yeah,
Spaz, right?
that's correct. When I met
Yeah.
Spaz, he
I've
was yeah. I think you heard this from the podcast too, but he
yeah,
was the
I've been trying
person.
to I was trying to catch up.
Yeah, he was the individual that brought me from the brink, essentially. So what that means is that on the first day I was out, I was kind of like, am I going to get back into it or not? Because if you look at it, my situation, by myself, no
Yeah.
friends, out there with an injured foot, and and trying to understand how everything works, and so the first day I was out there, I was on the fence, and but my wife told me, why don't you just go back, give it another try? And so I went back for another game day, and that's when I met Spaz. you know I met him in the line when we were waiting to get in, and we just kind of got into a conversation. He found out that this is literally my first or second time out, and he invited me to go hang out at his table, and he tagged up with me during the game sessions, which is awesome because
Yeah, that is
as
awesome.
as a newcomer ish, depending on how you look at this, um, just going out there alone and just kind of figuring things out, it's not as fun. But when you're tag teamed with a group or with another individual that's helping you along the way, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And
Oh, definitely. And I can definitely relate. I mean, in a way, like when I started, of course, we have a group of we started with five. We now have six, but there's several times where most of them will leave after lunch, or we'll do a 2-day event and they only play the first day. And I always stay because we can camp out at our field. So I always camp because that's my weekend away from, the wife and kids. And, I only do it once a month, so why not? But they'll leave, and then that first 2-day event, I was there by myself on Sunday, and it was a little awkward, but I just played through, met some people, and it was fun. Had a blast.
yeah, definitely. Because once you're part of that group, part of that community, it's very rewarding on some
Oh
of the
yeah,
game sessions.
definitely.
So for the newcomers or even those who are listening in, if you're just now getting into airsoft, don't let it overwhelm you or discourage you. I mean, you will find friends, make friends, you'll be in groups, and
Just
it's going to
just
be a
be open.
blast.
Leave yourself open to new conversation and new people because
Absolutely.
they're there and they love it as much as you do. So leave yourself
Absolutely.
open to it.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it's the same in your part of the country, but where I'm at, I mean, um, people were willing to answer questions, help you out, proactively try to
Oh yeah.
make improvements with your style or even with your equipment. So it's pretty cool when you have something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get so the gun on the bottom I got from my son. It's a little AK-47U, and I haven't had a chance to take him out yet. We were supposed to go, and then he got an F on his social studies test, so I didn't take him. But we're planning a trip out, and hopefully I'll finally get him out there. He's 12, so should be a good time.
Yeah, that's usually the perfect time if he improves on his grades, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's he controls it. So
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of encouragement. If you pass
yeah,
that
I'm
test, you
hoping.
can you
I'm
can go out
hoping.
and start shooting people with plastic BBs. You know? Oh, cool. So out of curiosity, what's your local field?
So it's called SQ Airsoft, ESCUE. And that's the one, I don't know
Yep.
if you're on my
Yep.
page or not, but
I
that's the
see
one where
it.
all the pictures are from. And it's huge. And I know they own 55 acres total. I think the
South
field
Carolina.
itself is, yes, I think the field itself is 30 to 40 acres, I believe. I've I've heard different numbers from everybody, but somewhere between 30 and 40. But it's awesome, man. I know you guys just got trenches recently, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've got trenches on one side, and then in the middle is like a crossroads place with a tower and a couple little buildings, but most of it is all woods with roads and stuff in between.
I would be more intrigued in that map because because of the wilderness aspect of it.
Yeah,
But
it is great.
because where I'm at, of course, nothing wrong with where I'm at. I mean, Fox Airsoft, their fields are pretty top quality, I have to admit. Um, but uh, but I just wish they had like a wooden area or
Mm.
something like that to where you can use the ghillie suit and use more either DMR or more of a sniper role type play styles, right?
It's just
But
one of those situations though, man. So like I have that woody field. I'm looking forward to playing on a field like yours because I
yeah,
don't
where it's
have
kind of flipped. Yeah,
it.
because you
Yeah.
don't have it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So maybe we need to do one of those it's the things I grew up with. Exchange students where
Oh, there
we
you go.
exchange go together, have it sponsored. We check out each other's field.
There we go. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely dig that. Because because at the moment I've only been exposed to fields in Colorado, but I've been checking out other fields in other states that I want to visit. There's one in Oklahoma. I think it's called JTC Tactical.
Okay.
I think that's near Tulsa, if I remember correctly. And then there's Doomsday. That's in Alabama. I want to check out.
Hmm.
And
I'll
then
have to look that one up because Alabama's not far from me.
yeah, because that's the one where if you pay attention to Rooster on X. I
Okay.
think you're friends with him as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, yeah, he his local field is Doomsday. So if you check it up on YouTube, I mean that field looks pretty
Yeah,
cool because it has a
I'll
little
definitely
bit
have
of
to
a
check it
mix
out.
of a few things, and especially with they have like the helicopter. Of course, it's completely dismantled, but still a frame of a
Yeah.
helicopter just
Yeah,
hanging
that's
there in
awesome.
there. It's just yeah, it adds a feel to it.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if you've been in airsoft for like 8 or 9 months, you already have a collection back there in your back wall.
So, so there's a few of them, but like you, I have to go through an act of Congress to really do
Of
anything.
course. Yeah. Yeah, and
That's
that's not a, well, how should I answer this without getting in trouble? Um,
you can't.
yeah, it's a blessing, but it's also like um a lot of bureaucracy.
Hmm.
So I'll just leave it at that. But
I will say, without my financial advisor, I would be broke.
yeah.
But so I started my first gun. I don't have it anymore. I got it on sale on e-bike. It was a Double Eagle M50A bolt action. Because I play on a very tight budget. So I went sniper because that's what I could afford. And I loved it. It was great. I get why people say don't do it for your first time playing airsoft,
Oh
but
yeah,
I had a blast. Like I love doing it. Um, but I got the shotgun after that, which is a Springer, just regular tri-shot spring shotgun, like $60. That thing is great. That's probably one of my favorite guns I have. But I got an M4. I traded my other sniper for my buddy's M4 because he had a few of them. And then I got my son the little AK. And then just recently for Christmas, a buddy of mine up in Virginia surprised me and actually bought me the sniper rifle I have now, which is the EMG Helios Evo 1.
nice.
Yeah, unfortunately out of the box, it is shooting 181 FPS, which is absolute garbage. So I'm working with Evike to send it back and get it fixed. But the thing is awesome. It feels great.
Yeah, I hear you there. It like like you just repeated, it's an act of Congress for me to get anything. But when I do get an airsoft gun, I have the opportunity because I've been approved for an airsoft gun, but not the specifics of what I can do with it,
There
right?
you go.
So therefore, even though I only have two M4s, they're fully upgraded. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's awesome.
I have the Titan on there, the um, upgraded piston and motor, and obviously the Springer as well. But the Springer is not a really, how should I say, it's kind of a minor upgrade, but it's still
Yeah.
every little bit helps. So, you know, if you listen closely to my videos on my channel, you'll notice that I'm shooting pretty fast, right?
Yeah, because you did that
So,
something with your trigger, didn't you?
yep, I the trigger's been modified to where it's on a low setting. And
Okay.
so it's literally if I'm just barely moving my finger, it fires.
So it's just super
And
sensitive.
it's very sensitive, yeah.
Nice.
So and you're gonna I think I mentioned this in another episode, but the reason why I did that is because on my first game out, my finger got tired because because I had to move the finger a little bit further,
Yeah.
right? And I kept doing it. And then and of course, you know, to be fair, it's my first game, and I'm sure my body wasn't used to it. Because it wasn't just my finger that was tired, but it also my entire body was like felt like I was going to
I
die
mean,
that
just
day.
even watching
But
your YouTube videos, I mean, you guys go through a lot more BBs than we do
wow, there's a lot of
for the
close
most part.
game engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's why.
it takes us some time to get to the other team and engage and all that. But so you guys are definitely firing more than we are.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the person, but
It depends on the person, yeah.
yeah.
And after that first game, I was like, nah, I gotta change this. So I adjust the trigger on it, and now it's at least my preference. It's perfect because I'm barely moving it and it fires, and so I could do
Yeah,
that
that's
all
awesome.
day. And of course, I think I even mentioned this too in another episode. Is that it's a blessing, but also kind of a double-edged sword at the same time, because since it's so sensitive, I could just pop pop pop, and
Yeah,
the person gets hit multiple times and they'll think that you're overshooting them when you're not. I mean, it's within a second and a half. You can pop your finger like pretty
right.
quickly, right? So it's some might take offense of that, but I always apologize if they have an issue and I tell them, look, it's not intentional. I mean, matter of fact, here, check out my weapon, and you'll see why.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, they're totally fine. And matter of fact, they were asking me if they can buy the gun.
Oh, no
And
kidding.
yeah. So I was like, well, I mean, we could try to work out something, but then I have to buy something else. And
Right.
but but anyway,
And fully upgrade that.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. I like my setup, and and of course with my video editings, I'm not just doing podcasts, but as you well know, I'm doing gameplay footages as
Yeah,
well.
which yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, and I've been progressing on each editing on each video.
Hmm.
So on the latest one I just posted, I think it was like yesterday or the day before, I posted a gameplay video called Airsoft Radio Gameplay.
Okay.
Basically you'll hear like radio chatter ish while
Right.
I'm
That's what
playing.
you were talking about where you found out that way to play that chatter while you were playing.
Yeah, and I went a little bit beyond that. I'm kind of trying to be careful what I say here, but
And don't give away any
there's
secrets now.
yeah, exactly right. There's things I'm doing that I haven't seen, at least that of my knowledge, I haven't seen some of the other YouTubers doing.
Nice.
So it kind of stands out at least a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, you need that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And I redesigned the HUD display as well. So it's
Okay.
no longer just showing the top, but it's also
Yeah.
showing the bottom. And also when the radio signal goes through, you have a little radio indicator on the left
Oh,
bottom side of the
that's
screen.
cool.
So,
Is it
a little bit different.
you're really into that kind of stuff, huh? Doing the editing and
Um,
all that?
I do have an editing background.
I
So
mean, you gotta enjoy
but
it with how much you do.
yeah, so with my little editing background, since I was into Airsoft, I was thinking, well, why not I just merge the two? And that's what I ended up doing. And and it's interesting because I did it years ago. Really, I was really good at it at one point. And this was like, I can't remember how long ago. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago is when I stopped doing it. But I was doing it further back than that. And I was
Okay.
into like graphic designs, rendering, if you're familiar with rendering. It's
Yeah.
basically, yeah. So I used to be really good at it. As a matter of fact, the little Star Wars movies, when you
Yeah.
first open up to the scene, it's in the stars and it moves over to the planet, right?
Yeah.
I was able to duplicate it very, very
No kidding.
closely. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
this course, this was years ago. So when I got into airsoft and tried to remember what I did years ago, I'm relearning what I used to do, and you can kind of see that on the gameplay footage from the very beginning to now. On each posting, you'll see an improvement because I'm literally re-remembering what I used to
How
do and pushing the
how
envelope on the next end.
how long ago was that? Because I mean, would that be a challenge? It's got to be a challenge too, going from, however long ago that was to technology and all the programs and all that now. Is it much different?
A few. So to answer your question, yes, there is more features, more capabilities, which I had to also fresh up on.
Yeah.
So it's that's why it's taken me a little bit of time to basically to progress what I used to do, but you can see the progression quite quickly. So
Yeah,
one
definitely.
video from another, it's a huge jump, and I've been doing that since the very beginning. So with other YouTube channels, and again, nothing wrong with them. I mean, there's some really good YouTube channels out there,
Oh yeah.
but I noticed that on each posting they're doing, it's literally the same editing style every single time. They're
Right.
just um, how should I say, they're pumping out the same type. Is what I'm saying. There's very little improvement once
Yeah,
they get to an establishment. And so in my case, I'm just constantly changing things on the fly.
yeah,
So
which is awesome.
yeah, it's a little bit different, but but it's that's what I say. Hopefully, I could stay doing that for a while, but we'll see because it seems like when I stay in a hobby for a few years, then I just suddenly go to a different interest, right? So hopefully that won't happen for me in this hobby for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, when was the last time you connected two hobbies together?
In that
Because
particular case, that would have been almost 10 years ago ish.
oh, okay,
That
because
would have
I'm
been almost 10
because
years
right now
ago.
you're doing two hobbies at the same time, so it may
Yeah.
last longer.
Yeah, I may. Exactly.
What's up,
We'll
baby?
see.
You need something? Yeah, you good? Okay. Sorry, it's my daughter. One of
No, it's all good.
them. There's four of them in there, so that may happen again.
May happen again. No, it's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
that's why I'm out here in the garage. 'Cause I wasn't
No,
sure if I was going to be able to make it work, but
it
I,
looks like you did a good job. I didn't even notice you're in the garage.
yeah,
That's
I
impressive.
stacked up. I've got these two old end tables that I stacked up and put the laptop on so that it would be facing because my desk is behind me.
Mm.
So it's all rigged up.
No, it's still looking pretty cool. I mean, I like that. I just hope that I have something similar to that when I go into my new house eventually.
Oh, you will, man. You will for sure.
Yeah. So awesome. So being in the airsoft for 8 or 9 months, I mean, is there any funny events that have already occurred in your gameplay? Anything entertaining that you recall?
Um, honestly not yet. I know it's coming.
That's
I
coming.
know it's coming. It's all been fairly standard for the most part. I mean, I'm trying to think. There was one time, um, it was AOSC, Airsoft Organization of South Carolina. It was their 15-year anniversary game, and it was a 2-year or 2-day event. And SQ, they took this golf cart and they turned it into a little tank. They put this like metal all around it, and they had a guy posted like was standing in the middle with a little minigun. And we were in the crossroads, the little area with the buildings and stuff, and the tank was coming, and because you could hear it, it sounds like a little diesel golf cart coming up. And I went to go slide behind this wooden, like, I guess, pallet, not realizing that most of the slats were missing from the pallet. So I slid behind it and just got lit up by this minigun. I thought I was safe. I absolutely was not. And but that hurt. That was definitely one of the more painful months. It just lit me up with this little minigun.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, I can picture that. It's just, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it in my case, I've been through a few already in my case, and it's um, I'll tell you, I guess the most funniest that I recall is that as you know about the injury in my foot, right? So when I tried
Hmm.
to stop, both of my feet don't stop simultaneously in sync. It's one foot stops quicker than the other, and because of that,
Right.
I have to be careful because it can create a how should I say, maybe not inertia, but hopefully it's making sense. Where if if one foot stops before the other, it creates an imbalance, and now
Oh,
you're
did I
sliding.
disconnect?
Are you still there?
Um,
All right, welcome
all
back.
right. Good to be back.
All right, excellent. So, trying to remember where we left off on. Um,
Oh man. Here's a question for you.
yeah.
How did you hurt your foot?
Oh, oh my gosh. How should I get into that? It's it was several years ago. I was on one of those fast electric scooters, and
Yeah.
not the ones you buy from Sam's or from Walmart. I mean, this one's kind of a professional grade. You have to custom order,
Okay.
and it goes up. At least at that time, it was one of the fastest ones they had on the market. This was years ago. So, wow, now that I think about it, probably wasn't the fastest, but it was in the top tier, right? If I
Yeah.
remember correctly, it can go up to like 35, 40 miles an hour.
No
And
kidding.
yeah. So with those things, obviously there's not much protection. You got to make sure you're willing a helmet and all that stuff. So
Right.
it was shipped overseas. So I when I received it, I noticed something that was kind of different where your brakes, right? Um, since it was shipped overseas, they're reversed. So basically, where you
Huh.
think you should be braking your back tire, you're not. You're braking your front, and the other one has the reverse on that. So I kept forgetting about that. And one of the times when I was riding the electric scooter, I accidentally pressed the wrong one, and I braked the front tire.
Oh
And when I did
man.
that, I flipped, right?
Yeah.
And going about 35 miles an hour, and I flew, and then I hit the ground, rolled, and of course at that time I felt, I'm feeling myself like, oh, okay, I'm still in one piece. So, I went home and bragged to my wife about it. Told, look what just happened. This is so awesome. And she was like, "You're crazy. What just happened? Why do you want to do that?" I'm like, I don't know. It's just, the adrenaline rush, right? So
Oh yeah.
shortly after that, I can't remember the exact time frame, but I think it was like days or maybe a week or I mean, I just remember it was after the incident. It wasn't on that day, but I started noticing some swelling on the foot, right? And it would hurt, when I put pressure on it. And it was sporadic. So sometimes it would hurt for an entire day and it'll stop and then it'll come back and the swelling would come back. And then it would be a few days and it'll go down and I
Mm.
wouldn't feel it. It was kind of weird. It wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
So, um, so I moved to another state, or let me backtrack. I'm going too fast here. I had it checked at that time at the state I was living at, and they took X-rays and they said, yeah, you do have a micro, what do they call it? A micro fraction or something like that on the bone, on the foot, but it'll be fine. It'll
Hmm.
heal. And if there's any complications, come back and we'll go from there. Well, it didn't stop. I mean, every what was it? Like the pattern I told you about, it would swell up, pain, few days, go back down, and it'll just repeat. And of course, as a guy, you're like thinking, should I really go see a doctor on this? And of course, my wife
Right.
is bugging the hell out of me, saying you need to go see a doctor every single little thing, right?
That's what they're here for, man.
Yeah, I know. So, it was partially my fault because I kind of, I kind of brushed it off. But when we moved to Colorado, that's when it started to get worse. And it wasn't
Mm.
just a little bit of swelling; it actually swelled up, and it would stay hurting. And the pain scale actually went up, and
Mm.
it was a lot longer than a few days. It was like almost weeks. And at
No
that
kidding.
point, yeah, at that point, I went to the doctor, and they took an X-ray, and um, they came back and they, at first it was kind of, I think they kind of brushed it off, but after I told them about this injury that happened a year, I can't remember now, year and a half prior, um, they requested to see the X-ray from that first evaluation. So when they
Hmm.
reviewed it, then they're telling me, after they compared it with the current X-ray, they had a comparison and they noticed actually it's getting worse and and it looks like that trying to remember the wording. I'm not a doctor, but in this current situation, if it's not resolved, they believe that it'll continue to get worse and I'll eventually will lose the bone on the foot. And
Mm.
so after that, they, it was like, okay, I guess we're going to surgery then. And that's what they had to do. They had to go to surgery, operate on the bone. So and of course, it's on the foot, so there's not much there, right? So you
Right.
have like a little bit of muscle, but most of it is what do you call it? Um, having a brain fart. Is it tendons? I'm not a medical
Yeah, yeah,
person.
tendons.
Yeah. So there's really that's all that's there, right? So when they're
Yeah.
cutting up to the bone, they have to go through that. And of course, since it's your foot, with those tendons or whatnot, then that could be kind of interesting to heal, right? So
Oh yeah, for sure.
so the healing process after that was kind of interesting because I had surgery on the foot after what about I was in one of those big boots for a while. I think about maybe a month and a half, somewhere around there. And then I went to the smaller boot. And when you get into the
Yeah.
smaller boot, you can drive. And
Right.
so one of the things they told me is that in order to heal smoothly, you need to keep using that foot. Don't just leave it sitting like that
Right.
because that's what I was doing most of the time. And I was just, laying on a couch, had the foot up. Um, but they kept saying that you need to keep using that foot because of the what do you call it? You don't want it to, what was the words they said? I remember them saying lock and lock or lock up.
Yeah,
I don't
because it
know.
would all grow kind of in place
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than
Where it won't be
being
as
able to,
flexible.
yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
they told me that I need to keep using it in order to prevent that and prevent further limitations in the future, right? So some of the things they were telling me was like go exercise, go outside, um, and I'm like, nah, I don't feel like doing that. So
I don't wanna.
so so I was kind of disappointed because it wasn't healing as of course it's my fault because I'm not doing what they're asking me to do because I wasn't interested
Right.
in that, right? I didn't really have motivation. And
Yeah.
so a colleague, I was expressing my disappointment with a colleague of mine, and we're into weapons and stuff like that. So he was like telling me, well, why not just try airsoft? Because therefore you're doing something you enjoy and you'll be outside and
So
you'll be
does
able to
does your
control your play style. Yeah.
does your colleague play airsoft?
Actually, he does not. He's a
Oh,
he's
okay.
he's a surgeon.
Oh, all
So
right.
we're friends, but because I was telling him some stuff and he said just let me look at you because he wanted to see like the notes on the file and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
showed him, and so he was telling me, dude, you're fine. You're just not using the foot. I mean, that's essentially your problem. So so we were talking. He's into guns and background. He just somehow
Yeah.
brought up airsoft, and so I was like, are you joking? Are you serious? And he's like, no, give it a try. I mean, you'll be able to control how you use the foot and these different play styles, and you'll be outside and
Is it, so
and
you
and just
you
go
haven't
from
gone
there.
back to him yet and be like, look, I'm playing. Why aren't you playing with
No,
me?
I have. Yeah, I have, and he jokes with me every now and then, and he's like, um, "Sure, we'll do that someday." And of course, he never came out. So, but I mean, it worked out because it got me into doing something,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
no,
helped
that's
improve the
awesome,
foot.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad it's helping, honestly.
yeah, and of course, the foot's not 100%. I mean, I do have certain days that it just how should I word this? It just kind of dies.
Yeah.
So just
It's
like that.
the
So
foot's just I quit.
yeah, like the foot said, enough is enough. I'm out. And I had that happen to me. What on the airsoft field? I had that happen to me once, to where I was literally running. Everything was fine. I was running, shooting someone. I got the person out, but then suddenly the foot failed, and it instantly hurt, and it felt like I was standing on like glass, and
Oh,
and of course when you instantly feel that pain just like that, your body just jolts and reacts, right?
oh yeah.
And and when I felt that, I was sprinting, and then I just lost balance and it immediately fell to the ground while I was wearing my full gear and everything. So
Oh, at least you took someone with you.
well, it did, and the thing is, I actually have that on video too. I actually captured it on my GoPro of that happening.
Have you posted that yet?
No,
Because
I
I know you
haven't.
mentioned posting it.
I want to. I just haven't done it yet because I got to figure out how I'm going to frame this, right?
Oh,
So
I gotcha.
so it's like, should I just show it raw? Should I add the HUD effects? Should I even have a storyline to it? I mean, it's just I'm still trying to figure
I
all
think
that out.
I think you just throw it onto one of your shorts and just a raw footage of just just life happening.
Yeah, life out of yeah, exactly right. So, but I mean, when that ha did happen, though, the community, right? People noticed I was down, and they checked to see how I was doing. Spaz noticed as well, and I ended up being dragged out of the field, and the local
Yeah,
staff made sure I was
that's
doing
awesome.
okay, and
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
it was pretty cool to have that type of support even after the
So,
fact.
do you guys have the blind man rule?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did everyone just yell blind man and took you out of there?
No, matter of fact, the rule that would have applied in this particular instance would be real world. And
Okay, yeah,
that's
yeah,
one of the
yeah, yeah.
code names for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. No, we
So,
have that one too. I never think about that one because we blind man happens occasionally on our field. Real world has not happened yet. I'm sure it
yeah.
will at some point.
Well,
No, I take that back.
anything that will
Actually,
happen will happen.
I
Yeah.
I take that back. We had one where they yelled real world because there was a snake. I don't remember what kind of snake it was or anything, but there was a snake on the field where a bunch of people were, and everyone yelled real world, and they came and took the snake out and brought it out further out on the field and let it go. Not on the field, but further out
Not
on the
on the field,
property.
further out on the
Let it
property.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it a poisonous one or no?
I honestly can't remember. Um, but it was also one of those like hearsay moments. Like I was with a whole group of people sent on the complete, probably 300, 400 feet away from where this happened. And they were all saying it was a different kind of snake, but really, like, we had no idea. Like, we weren't there, you know?
Man, I was gonna say it would have been
Just,
really cool if it was like a cobra or something. But
yeah, that'd be wild. I mean, here in South Carolina, I mean, the worst case scenario, maybe a rattlesnake, I
rattlesnake.
believe, but
Yeah, we have those here.
most likely just a black snake.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in Montana, and I had an aunt who lived in Boulder, Colorado. And I used to go down and visit her and spend some time in Colorado. We used to go hiking and stuff and camping, and yeah,
Yeah.
Colorado was nice.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Boulder. I have an office, one of my offices there. So I
Okay,
occasionally I travel there every now and then just to make sure the office is still good. But
nice.
beautiful scenery. I mean, it's right next to the mountain. So depending on where you're at, you can look straight up to where the walking path is, and
Hmm.
you can see the walk path go all the way up to the mountain. It's kind of cool to see that. But
Yeah.
but they do have some interesting hailstorms there. So out of the blue, it could just hail, and you should see some of the photos I have. I mean, it hails so much to where the ground looks like snow, but it's not snow, it's hail. And it's about an inch
I
thick
mean,
that's
I've
into the
seen it.
ground.
I live in the South, but I grew up north, and yeah, I grew up in Montana, like I said, and I've seen it, man. I lived in Washington State for a little bit. I have seen those hailstorms.
Yeah,
And where I lived in Montana, we were 34 miles away from the Canadian border. I mean, we used to get snow like crazy.
yeah.
I miss it sometimes.
Well, I don't really like snow, but yet I live in Colorado. So
Yeah.
it's like,
What are you doing, man?
I know, right? So I lived all over the United States. So I lived in Texas several times, Oklahoma, Kansas, Florida multiple times.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna ask about your Texas patches there.
yeah, there's a story behind this. I'll talk to you about it off air. There's a
Fair
reason,
enough.
but but there is a reason why I'm wearing it. But but anywho, it's especially out here in Colorado, you don't see that, and a little bit of a different. Of course, I'm trying to be fair how I word this. Uh, Different culture. I'll just say it that way.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So, but not a bad thing. I mean, every state has their own uniqueness. And especially
Oh
Texas. I
yeah.
mean, they're super proud. So, so nothing wrong with that. And
I've never lived in Texas. I've been to Texas, but like you, I've lived all over the US, man.
yeah,
And each, like you said, each state, they're all different.
yeah, very different, and different in good ways, and different ways. Maybe I should have worded that a little
Yes.
bit better, but
No, they all
but
have good, they all have bad.
yeah,
That's just like everything else in life.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So don't, whoever's hearing this, don't think I don't like Colorado. Colorado's beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. The
He
culture
hates
in
it.
Colorado is pretty good too. I'm just saying it's different and in a good way. So just want some clarification, just in case I get angry
Colorado
emails.
is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um,
Everyone's gonna be yelling at you at your home field.
I could see that happen. But I mean, I love my home field. I mean, I just nowhere is 100% perfect. Nowhere is no 100% bad. I mean, like we were just
Yeah,
talking about, goes and pros and cons. And
absolutely.
one of the cons I don't like is the snow. But hey, that's Colorado. So
I want to play airsoft in the snow.
me, everyone has their different styles. It's funny because I'll get into the like if it's in the woods, I'll get into the mud, right? But
Hmm.
when it comes to the snow, I don't even want to touch it. It's kind of weird. So it's like I'm willing to get in the mud, but I'm not willing to get in the snow. And how does that make sense? So it's just,
Yeah,
everyone's different.
it's snow's colder.
Well, I view it a little bit more uncomfortable, but I mean, but I shouldn't be complaining because I'm outside playing, so but it's all
Yeah,
good.
I've got some family up in Virginia, which is only about a 7 hour drive from here. So I'm hoping next winter, I'm hoping to plan a trip to go up there and play in some fields in the snow.
Oh,
Hopefully.
excellent. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully you do. I mean, it's
Oh,
kind of cool to go
I'll
out
make it
there
happen
and
somehow.
yeah, go out there and check out other locations and
Oh,
see how
definitely.
other people play.
I really want to play at every field in South Carolina. That's my goal for this year is to get a patch from every single field in South Carolina.
And put it in your back trophy
Yeah.
display right there. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which
So it
oddly enough, so that um the black right there, that's felt. It's not it's not the what's the word? The hook and loop.
oh, gotcha.
It
Yeah,
it's just a piece of felt from my daughter had this really tall uh jewelry case thing and it had this huge long felt backing. She didn't want it anymore and it was kind of it got old.
yeah.
So I just ripped the felt out of the back of it and it came out in a perfect square, luckily. And the patches just stick right to it. But I don't
Nice.
have to peel them off each time. They come right off and I can just set them right on there and yeah, it's kind of nice.
That's pretty cool. Utilizing someone or not someone, utilizing something to where it
Oh
could have
yeah.
been potentially thrown away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's my whole garage, man. I mean, you can't see my desk behind me, but the bottom desk is my youngest daughter's old desk. So it's white, pink, and gray. And then the top of it is actually my other daughter's old desk, and I cut it because I'm 6'2", so it's really hard to find a table where I can stand up comfortably and work on it. So I cut the bottom because it was one of those. It doesn't have four legs for the desk. You know what I mean? It's got the
Yeah,
like the planks of wood on each side.
yeah.
So I cut a few inches off of those and set it on top. So now I have like a little table that's where I can stand and work on it rather than have to sit or hunch over. It worked out pretty good.
Good deal.
But I am
Yeah,
all for reusing stuff one way or another.
yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
Oh, good deal.
absolutely.
So, out of curiosity, about your local field there, how long are your game sessions usually?
Hmm. They usually start, the goal is they usually start at, they do the safety briefing at 9, and then we usually end at 5, I believe. Yeah. So 9 to 5.
So, how long is each game?
So we do the game will start somewhere between 9 and 10, and then we always take a break for lunch at 1. And we'll do an hour break for lunch because they always have a food truck out there and stuff. And then at 2 o'clock, we go back, and then it ends at 5. But
Oh, okay.
there's it kind of the game modes switch as we play, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like they'll kind of like on the fly, it'll go from, you know, I don't know, domination to capture the flag to team deathmatch in the trenches, or it switches while we're down there throughout the day. So it's
Yeah.
not just one thing from, 9:30 to 1. There's usually a couple different game modes as we're going through.
Excellent. A good deal. Yeah, I was only
Yeah, it
curious
works out pretty good.
because each field I noticed, at least the ones I've been reviewing on YouTube, they seem to operate mostly the same but slightly different. Because
Hmm.
in the one in Colorado, of course, if I'm getting the timing correctly, I think each game is roughly 25 minutes. I could be wrong, but I think
Okay.
that's accurate. So, um, so they have multiple ones, right? So as soon as one
Right.
begins, there's another one which they call Marketplace. It's a different map. So that starts
Right.
maybe 10 minutes after, and then Prison, which is the one I mainly play on. The videos you mostly see, I play on
Yeah.
Prison. That ends. So then we go back to the bench for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then that's when Marketplace map ends. And then that's when Prison starts back up again. So it's kind of like um,
Okay.
multiple games within an hour. Hopefully, how I'm explaining that is correct or it makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it does. It makes sense. And we pretty much do the same thing, but instead of going and taking the break, each team goes to their spawn, and then the game mode changes and it just goes right back.
Goes right back into it. Okay. So
Yeah.
you could technically be in the same map without leaving throughout the day as
Yeah,
long as you go
because
back to the
they
respawn.
they use the whole field all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's
Okay.
usually on that big AOSC anniversary game that I was telling you about, there was 302 people there. And then but usually on our monthly Saturday games, there's easily 100 people there
Yeah.
all playing down. And then we split off. We have a green, I think you guys have what, a red and blue team?
That's correct. Yeah. Red and blue team.
And ours is green or tan, and it's based on your camo,
So
which get
I would
y-
be green, I
you would
think.
be tan
Tan. Ah,
actually,
gotcha.
and it gets confusing because here's a funny moment for you. So I was sitting on one of the roads. I was posted up on the side of the road watching some tan guys go by because they were out of my range because I had the shotgun at the time. And this guy comes walking up out of nowhere wearing your multicam. He's like, "Hey, do you see anybody?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I see them. They're down there, but they're just out of my range. I can't hit them." He's like, "Oh, well, you're dead." I was like, "Oh, you're tan, aren't you?" He's like, "Yes, I am." It's like, "All right, thanks for not shooting me."
That's funny. Yeah, I
With
can see
the
the confusion out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets tough sometimes, man. It does. Because like with this woodland stuff, I'm green, but
Yeah.
it's not super far off from what you're wearing. Is that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you get used to it the more you play, but it was definitely tough at first. My first time out
I
there, I
can
had no
imagine.
idea. I had a couple friendly fires. It was-
Yeah, I can easily imagine that. And with our field, they just recently did the ban or the red blue
Okay.
armband. So previously, before, what they did was tape or no tape, right? So you're on the
Hmm.
tape team or you're on a no tape team, and to me, that was kind of confusing at first. You wouldn't think that would be confusing, but they would always use, like, for example, the blue tape, right? And so since it's tape or no tape, some people said, I'm not going to use the blue tape. So they had their own tape and they put a white tape on there. right?
Mm,
And of course, my mind's processing is like I'm looking for a color, right?
right.
So I see blue, blue. Okay, killed him, got him out. But then a white goes by. I'm like, and I hesitate. I'm like, is he in my team or not? And then he turns around and shoots me. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
um,
that'd be tough.
yeah, a little bit different. So, um,
One,
oh, go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Oh
I
no,
was
that's
just gonna
all
say
good.
that our field also uses tape, but so for the people that show up in like all black, or they'll show up in jeans and a hoodie that isn't tan or green, they'll actually tape either it's yellow tape for tan and then green tape for green. So they do use the tape, and the taped people, it's super easy to tell because our field is so large. You have the time to kind of look
Yeah,
and check.
and verify.
But yeah,
Yeah,
but there's times, man, especially with the camo you're wearing, you're like, I'm not sure. I don't know. Should I shoot him? I don't want to shoot him. I probably should shoot him.
yeah,
It
because
gets tough.
it definitely gets tough for sure. Absolutely. All right. I mean, if it's okay with you, you mind if I share one of my YouTube videos here, especially the recent
Yeah,
one I just
absolutely,
released, and
man.
then we can like talk
Yeah, of
about
course.
it.
I haven't seen that one. So yeah, I'd love to. I don't get a lot of time to watch YouTube videos, so it's doesn't bother me at all.
Excellent. Give me a second here. Share. All right. Let me know when you can see the screen.
Yep, I got you.
All right. Scroll down here, and it's this one right here. Witness that epic airsoft radio gameplay.
Okay.
All right. Could you hear it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead and start it off here. So this is the one I just posted like the other day, 2 days ago.
Okay. This is a prison as well, right?
Yeah, this is also prison.
Okay.
On, game on.
Right off the bat.
Oh, yeah! Oh, my God!
I love that sound effect. I actually recorded that, by the way, from someone.
Did you?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Providing suppressive fire in prison.
Roger that.
So as you can see, it's right off the bat. I mean, it's like instant, or I should say instant.
Oh, yeah.
But the gameplay is pretty quick.
Hallway is clear.
What's status on courtyard? Courtyard is clear.
I like what you did with the HUD.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. It took a lot of hard work on it because
Oh, I'm sure.
on previous videos you would see this at the top end right here.
Yeah,
But
it
this
would just
is
say player one.
yeah, player one or player two. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then this is a recent change on the bottom. So I because I wanted to make it feel like it was a video game. I'm
right.
sure you're getting that feel out of it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah, a little bit. I like it.
yeah. So it took a little bit to do it, but I mean it's looking like it's turning out pretty well. And of course, the latest thing I've been messing around with was the radio communication. So
Mm.
that's also been kind of interesting, and you can kind of hear the helicopter background sound.
Hmm.
So I thought that was kind of a nice touch.
Oh yeah,
And of course that red lock on that you see every now and then, it
yeah, I
so
like
you
that.
can so you can pinpoint where the target is.
Six cases. I'll say about one and six. They're afraid to push up.
guys, boom boom. I love boom boom.
I love boom booms.
I love your boom boom, baby. Knock it off.
Knock it off.
Target entering prison.
Well, the reason why I'm not moving is because I knew that this whole front end of that map was being monitored,
Hmm.
and of course they were relaying the intelligence back through that radio communication. So I was
Right.
listening into that, and why move when you already know what the intel is in your front position,
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I
Makes
was
sense.
taking advantage of what I was hearing, and I was just simply waiting until something comes in from communication, and then I prep myself for an attack, and then that's when I immediately take out targets.
Nice.
Good job, team. Keep it up.
Shot another boom boom.
Really?
Unless she likes those boom booms.
Two targets entering prison. One white hoodie and one gray hoodie.
There's the white hoodie, and there's the gray hoodie.
Well played.
Gun hits.
Enemy in hallway.
Where are they firing at?
Some over here somewhere. Far side there.
Heads up, hallway has been breached.
Got shot. Shit.
So what happened here is we have in the prison map, we call it hallway, but basically it's a long hallway as it describes, where it transitions from the enemy side of prison to the friendly side of prison, right? So some people
Okay.
usually go through the hallway to try to either punch through enemy lines or flank, right? So we had no, at least my assumption at the time is that we had no defenders in that hallway. So I was just receiving reports through the radio that, hey, there's enemy in the hallway. And then the next thing I hear, hallway's been breached. And I'm like, uh-oh, I need to look behind me. So I looked behind me and there was a target.
Yeah,
So that's when I kind of freaked out and I immediately changed my position. And my colleague here changed his as well. It's kind of funny how that kind of twisted around like that.
Right, keeping it interesting.
on fourth gate. Yeah. Oh, there are two gates remaining. There are two gates remaining. I'm pretty sure. Good. Yeah. All right, sounds good. Come out! Okay. Come out!
And I felt bad for that guy because if you listen closely, he says, because I was shooting at him, he says, "Hey, I'm out."
Right.
So I stopped shooting, and as soon as he walks out that door, someone else shoots him. So, feel free to review the video yourself on your own machine, but if you listen closely, you can hear it.
I
So
would
it's
imagine though, so we have an indoor field up in Florence, South Carolina, and we went and played there once, and it was a great time. But I would imagine like, playing that like that's it's got to happen quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. That's why people usually call out, "Hey, dead man," when they're about to walk through the doorway.
Yeah.
So they don't, at least most of the time, don't accidentally get shot. And here in this scene, you can see how the field is.
Oh yeah. That was awesome, man. That was well done.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It took a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of editing work into that.
Oh, I'm sure. That's why I don't do videos.
It takes a lot of patience, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I've got the patience for it. I just don't want to.
Well,
I don't have the time. I'll put it that way. I don't have the time for it.
well, you can always still take photos. That's the
That
easiest thing. And posting
that's
on
my
X.
plan. That's my plan.
Yeah.
I do love snapping the photos when I get the chance.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course, I know this was mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, but you mentioned that your son is getting into it. And he's age 12, but he didn't go
Yep.
because he had an F on a test.
Yep.
So when did he start getting into it? Into
So
airsoft?
he's actually never played. Um, we do live in a neighborhood, but luckily our backyard is big enough where we can go out there and there's probably at least 100 feet between either side of the fence.
Nice.
So I'd go down to Walmart, I'll buy some targets and stuff, and we'll go out there and just mess around with the different guns and I'll show him it. I have no military background or anything like that, but I'll just show him kind of things that I know about, like, how to hold it, how to move, how to walk and shoot the targets at the same time, that kind of stuff. And he really enjoys it, but I think as of right now, I think he really enjoys it because he knows I really enjoy it.
Yeah, just a bonding time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get him out there with me though, and just both of us just go to town and have fun.
Yeah.
Get shot and shoot at people.
I have a 4-year-old, and they're at that age where they want to do everything with you, and
Yep.
even when you're doing yard work,
Oh yeah.
they want to try to help. It's kind of cute to see all that. And I was thinking about this from time to time. I was thinking, at what point should I start exposing her to some of this. And, I'm like, well, she's only 4, so maybe I should wait maybe 4 more years, 5 more years, maybe, and just to get
Yeah,
her somewhat kind of backyard exposed, right? Basic training, basic safety precautions, stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean,
with toys, obviously, not real firearms. And then,
yes,
and then kind
I
of,
wouldn't start that yet.
yeah, I know, right? So, from time to time, I've been thinking about that. So that's why I was curious on how old your son was and when he
Yeah,
started.
but I mean,
So,
I've only been playing for 9 months or so. So he showed an interest right off the bat. He was 11 at the time when I started. Um, but I don't know. I mean, if he was, see, my youngest daughter is 8, and I don't know if I would. I don't know. But she also hasn't shown any interest in it, so that's tough, man.
yeah,
I don't know how to
it'd
answer
be
that.
easier
Every
if
kid
they
every
showed
kid's
interest.
so
Yeah,
different, you know? Like it's
yeah,
yeah, like
definitely.
yeah.
Because, years from now, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, every kid has, if they don't show interest, it's kind of, but if mine did at one point, should I, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought,
I mean, yeah,
stuff like
I mean,
that.
I think so. If she's let's say she's 5 and she starts showing interest into it, maybe you could not necessarily, I don't know. I mean, you would figure out your own way, but why not get her into
Yeah.
it? You know what I mean? Why not start young in your backyard and
Maybe something a little
just
bit different. Let me grab something to show
yeah.
you. Maybe start off with something like not serious, like, I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Maybe
Oh
something like
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
those Nerf
Nerf guns.
things.
Yeah, Nerf guns would be perfect. Why not? And I don't know if any of your fields do it, but the indoor field here in Florence, which it's about 2 hours from here, I think, but they do Nerf gun battles and stuff at the indoor field for airsoft. And, you could always look into something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
granted,
good.
she's only 4, so start
Yeah, I
out at
have to
home
wait
and
a little bit.
stuff. But
Yeah,
like,
plus I have to
it's
wait a little bit. Yeah,
yeah. But
but
if she shows interest, why not?
yeah, we'll see. Of course, I better be careful because maybe I'll accidentally create a very deadly BB sniper, and
I mean,
everyone is
but
blown out of their mind that it's not a guy. So,
but at the same time, I wouldn't be mad if all of my daughters were, you know, deadly snipers with BBs.
yeah. And there's a few out there too. I've seen a few female airsofters,
Yeah,
and
which is awesome.
yeah, which is great because that means it's being exposed on not just
Yep.
on our side of the gender, but also, on the female side too.
Yeah. I
It's kind of
took
cool to see
my
that.
my oldest daughter, I took her out to SQ with me one time and she had a blast. Hey, unfortunately, at the time, she had the rental gun because I didn't have any of the other ones. So she didn't love the gun or the airsoft gun or pew. I'm sorry, man. I don't know the YouTube rules, but she had a blast doing it regardless. She had a lot of fun. I've
Oh,
tried to
excellent.
get her out a second time, but she is so just involved with school and she's
Yeah.
working now and so I don't know if I'll get her out again, but I'm trying.
All right. Well, be careful what you wish for. You never know.
As long as she can handle any dude that comes up to her that I don't like, I'm good with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I have to worry about that
Yeah.
sooner or later myself. So it's
And
like, yeah,
I
yeah,
got I got 3 daughters, man. So I feel your pain.
yeah. All
But
right. Well,
between me and
cool.
between me and my son, I'm hoping we should be in good shape.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and if you're interested, we can schedule another episode with you on maybe discuss either news or a particular item in airsoft you want to bring up. I mean, if you're more than
Yeah,
willing, yeah, I'd
absolutely,
like to
man.
invite you back on.
Absolutely.
And and
It was great. Thanks for having me.
yeah, not a problem. And of course, feel free to reach out. And
Always, I'm sure we'll be in touch.
yeah, definitely. And try to stay safe from those BBs. You
Absolutely.
have
You
a
do the
good
same,
night.
man. Do the same.